Hey everybody. If you're like me, each month or even each paycheck comes with decisions. Difficult decisions on how we're going to spend all that hard-earned money. Decisions on what bills and payments to make, and maybe even decisions on what bills and payments to not make. Well, today we are going to talk about the most important payment that you probably don't even make. Good morning, everybody. This is episode number 115 of the All Around Growth podcast. And this is a show that gives us the insight and the tools to build the life and homestead of our dreams. My name is Rob Kaiser and I am your host. Today is Wednesday, March 10th, 2021. And the title of today's show is The Most Important Payment You Probably Don't Make. Now, each day that I work out, I listen to The Strangest Secret in the World by Earl Nightingale. There's a lot of people that work out, go to Orange Theory and all right, that's not me. I spend the time at home doing a very basic, very simple workout with good quality content playing in the background because it seems like it's an effective use of my time. Now, the way in which I'm doing this is kind of new, and I've only been doing this kind of workout for the past few months. But I suspect that since the first of the year, I've likely listened to The Strangest Secret in the World at a minimum of 30 times. And that consists of working out 3 to 4 times a week. And in doing so, I've had some big takeaways. And one of those takeaways is this. To be successful, we must be willing to pay the price. So, what does success actually mean? I've talked about this with some other people, talked about success, and sometimes they were real quick to point out that money doesn't mean success, Rob, and don't you know there's more to life than money? I know that. But I feel like people that find themselves saying that or thinking that, people that find themselves thinking or saying that don't you know there's more to life than money? They find themselves saying that because they apparently do not. And I don't think that they understand success because they shit on those who attempt to do that, to understand success. Because if they did, they would be supportive and engage in positive dialogue about what success actually means. Now, after multiple listens to The Strangest Secret in the World, Earl Nightingale helps us understand what success is. And rather than sit here and rant about people that do not, I am going to focus on someone who does. He believes that the success is the school teacher who is teaching school because that's what he or she wanted to do. The success is the woman who is a wife and mother because she wanted to become a wife and mother and is doing a good job. The success is the man who runs the corner gas station because that's what he wanted to do. The success is the successful salesman who wants to become a top-notch salesman and grow and build with his organization. And ultimately, A success is anyone who is doing deliberately a predetermined job because that's what he or she decided to do deliberately. Furthermore, he says that only 1 out of 20 does that. Think about that. 5% of the people in the world are successful based on these metrics. It's not that many. But consistent attempts towards changing your behavior can help make it happen. Now again, to be successful, we must be willing to pay the price. Well, what is that price? It's many things, all right? So let's go over the important points in the price each of us must pay to achieve that wonderful life that can be ours. It is, of course, worth any price. You are that important, my friends. So listen up, because it's really quite simple. 4 things that we must do. 4 steps that we must accomplish in order to pay the price. 1, you will become what you think about. 2, remember the word imagination and let your mind soar. 3, courage. Concentrate on your goal every day. And 4, save 10% of what you earn. Now, before I go on and expand on that 4th step of saving 10% of what you earn, I want to talk real quick about those other 3 steps because they are important. You become what you think about. Real simple. You focus on negative, you become negative. You focus on positive, my friends, you will become positive. Just remember, we become what we hate. Never forget. Remember the word imagination? Let your mind soar. Read fiction. Go places. Remember what it's like to be a child. Step 3 is courage and to concentrate on your goal every day. And my friends, if you are not setting goals, you are failing. I used to work for a man named Ray. He would tell me, Rob, if you're not growing, you're dying. And I used to hate it. I used to hate it so much, and it wasn't until years afterwards that I finally understood what he meant. When I finally understood the importance of setting goals. Now, in more ways than less, I've set goals throughout most of my adult life, even in high school, with athletics, things like that. But I grew away from it, especially as life began to change. I began living life on life's terms. But man, you gotta set goals. So that brings us to step 4, save 10% of what you earn. This is the one step that stood out to me the most. And, I mentioned athletics and setting goals just a minute ago. And when I started listening to this consistently, I had some memories of my Uncle Tom. My Uncle Tom was my high school football coach. He was the head coach. And he was largely the reason why I decided to go to the public high school instead of going to the Catholic high school where my father and my grandfather attended, my namesake. And everyone in the family, including my uncle, thought that I had a future playing football. I was a big kid. I had epilepsy, but no matter. I was a pretty good-sized kid. I'm 6'3" now. A lot more slim than I used to be. But I was a good-sized kid. And he encouraged me. My Uncle Tom encouraged everyone. He was a father to a lot of people who didn't have good family dynamics. My Uncle Tom is a good man. I remember all those years back, him telling me to save 10% of everything I earned, and the first check that he wrote was a check to himself, a payment of 10% of everything he earned. And so quickly did I forget about that. And I remember that now. And I'll never forget. And I would encourage you to never forget either. You are the most important person in your life, and you have to pay yourself first. Remember, the title of today's show topic, or the title of today's show, is the most important payment you probably don't make. When I mention this concept to a lot of people aren't actively engaging in this idea of paying themselves first. And a lot of people aren't doing this because they're in debt. Now you can do this if you're in debt, but it doesn't make any sense. All right? Because chances are, if you're carrying debt, you've got credit card debt. And the interest lost on your credit cards offsets any and all of that 10% that you pay to yourself. You gotta get out of debt. You have to. You must. My friends, if you are in debt and you are hearing this for the first time, you've got to get out of debt, then there's steps in the show notes about Financial Peace University that'll give you the tools and the resources to do so if you really want to. But chances are you're not hearing this for the first time. Chances are you listen to somebody else, a lot of other people that tell you you got to get out of debt. You got to make a change. And my friends, you have to. I'm telling you that this is the most important thing that I've ever done in my life. I have made changes in my life, many types of changes. And sometimes I feel as though I'm not happy with my life. But it wasn't until I got out of debt that I began to see life through a different set of lenses. It wasn't until I got out of debt that it gave me the clarity that I needed in order to find my way through the dark woods. You have to get out of debt. You have to do this. I've coordinated Financial Peace University classes. If you want to know what it's all about, reach out to me, allaroundgrowth@gmail.com. I will help you. I will do whatever I can to help you. But it all begins with you. Now, Financial Peace University has been a part of my life for 3 years. Dave Ramsey and his podcast has been a part of my life for 10 years. It only took 7 years for it to sink in before I got serious. So maybe it's going to take you a little bit of time before you get serious about it too. Think about it. Focus on it. Get gazelle intense about it. Don't ever let up. Now, this step 4, save 10% of what you earn, ties in directly to the baby steps. Because baby step 1 is save $1,000 for your baby emergency step fund. Baby step 2 is get out of debt. Pay it all off. Cut off those credit cards and get out of debt. Baby step 3 is build up a 3 to 6 month emergency savings fund. And baby step 4 is invest 15% of your income and begin building wealth. Once you begin doing this, and I began saving the 10% in baby step 3, it's going to be a smooth and easy transition into that baby step 4, because I've already begun this habit of paying myself first, paying myself 10%. There's so much more that comes along with The Strangest Secret in the World, and I've linked to it in the show notes because I want you to benefit from it in the same way that I have. And your life is different, and you're going to benefit in different ways. But my friends, I assure you, you will benefit. But ultimately, when it comes down to these 4 steps, 1, you become what you think about. 2, remember the word imagination. Let your mind soar. 3, courage. Concentrate on your goal every day. And last but not least, the topic of today's show, the most important payment that you probably don't make. 4, save 10% of what you earn. What's important to remember about these 4 steps is this: action. These ideas are worthless unless we act upon them. Remember the story about 3 frogs on a log, and one decides to jump off? How many frogs remain? 3. Nothing happens until one of those frogs, the one that decided to jump, takes action and does so. Ideas are worthless unless we act on them. I hope that this show was of value to you. And if you think that it was, I'd like to ask one thing of you. Share it with a friend and give it a rating on your podcast player of choice. If you have the means and the ability, there's a link at the bottom that says click here to rate and review the podcast. That link takes you to Apple Podcasts. And as of this moment, March 10th, 2021, we are getting the most plays through that platform. And that's where the reviews and ratings matter the most. Share it with a friend. Get the word out there. Our audience is growing day by day, and it's fantastic. It motivates me to continue sharing this message with you. I love the feedback that I'm getting from the audience. I appreciate each and every one of you listening. And also in the show notes, there's a link to all episodes for easy listening. And if you have any questions or feedback for me, I would encourage you to join the community on the Telegram Messenger at t.me/allaroundgrowth. Or if you've got the Telegram app on your phone, you can search for the groups at All Around Growth. Join us. This is Rob Kaiser, and thank you.